everybody. Thanks for joining us. Pops up. I like having fun with my dragons. Anymore?
It didn't look intentional. It just looked goofy.
Invokes memories.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, are you for real or are you joshing?
I'm joshing.
Okay.
Rojo. Again. And I'm Dave.
And we'll see you at your friendly local game store. Thanks for joining us on Painting Happy Little Minis. I'm Gretchen.
I'm Dave.
And today we are going to paint Shadowrun Sixth World Minis from Catalyst Game Labs.
Yeah, it should be very cool. I'm excited to get stuck into these. I'd like to say I'm a big fan of Cyberpunk, but Leona is.
Yeah.
But that would suggest that I know a lot about it.
You can be a casual fan. There's nothing wrong with just being like, I like the aesthetic.
I love the Cyberpunk aesthetic. Yeah. I love the whole shebang, but I don't know enough about it.
We won't judge you.
I need to know more.
This is a judge-free zone.
Thank you. Seriously, everybody out there is immediately judging me.
No, they aren't. It's only Byron and Seth.
Just Byron and Seth?
Well, they'll join in.
Okay. What, in harassing me and judging me? I'm sure they will.
There's Timothy. He says, hey.
Hey.
See, there was no judgment in that.
That's true. But no, I am super excited because I do love the aesthetic. I think it looks fantastic, and we've got some great minis here. Have we got the spinner cam?
Yeah.
So we can show some of these. There we go. Cool. So they look super cool. I think this is Gentry, the human Decker. We have Sledge, the Orc Street Samurai.
That's my favorite character.
That's your favorite? Yeah. And we have Hardpoint, the Dwarf Rigger. And you are going to be painting?
I have Koi Dog, who I can...
No. Pop her on there.
She'll spin around. But she is the elf,
The elf shaman?
Shaman, yes.
Shaman?
Koi Dog, the elf shaman, as I say it often. But yeah, Jason, you are right. There are shifter paints here because we have some from Vallejo. And what a better time to test out shifter paints than on Magic Hands? So.
Magic Hands! I think it'd be fantastic.
I wish. I'm going to make that a GIF.
Well, I'm sure Leona's going to do that. The promo of the show. It's going to be previously on.
I'm going to make that your ringtone.
It's there.
All right, so whenever I call you, you go,
Magic Hands.
Magic Hands. That's funny. That would be good. And I am going to paint. I'm going to put him under the close cam here. Oh.
The big boy.
Or the spinner.
Yeah, just knock him away. Just sploosh.
There we go.
Excellent. Weapon specialist.
Blanco.
How did I know that was going to be your fave?
The cool thing is that my buddy Brian Steele had done some work. He is a huge Cyberpunk fan, huge Shadowrun fan. He's done some work for Catalyst Game Labs on Sixth World, written like a novella, and done some of the work in the book, I think. But this is a character that he created, apparently.
That's really cool.
So Blanco, the troll with the
so don't mess up.
Enormous minigun. Brian's a nice, relaxed guy. He'll be okay if I do mess up. But I'll try not to, Brian. Hopefully Brian will be joining us in the chat, and he'll be able to correct me on every mistake that I made.
Let's see who we have. We have
I will take
Jason, Timothy joined us, Seth, Ian, Let's see. I don't see anyone on Twitch or YouTube yet.
They're
It's a
coming.
rainy day. It's a slow, rainy day. Which
For
is
us here, yeah.
for us, yeah. Obviously, everywhere. Just
Everywhere.
Whatever the weather is here, it's definitely. I think it's snowing in Texas.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might
What?
still be snowing.
It was snowing in
It's
Texas.
snowing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
Merry
does snow in Texas
Christmas.
occasionally.
Yes, occasionally.
That does happen. But yeah, it's a cozy day. Perfect for painting minis, watching us paint minis.
This is true. Well, every day is a perfect day for painting minis, regardless of the weather. That's what I
That
say.
is true. That is accurate.
That's my philosophy. That means I don't have to go
Every day is a
outside.
good day for painting minis. That could be your next shirt.
Every day is a
It's a beautiful day to stay inside.
Stay inside.
Paint minis.
Yep, definitely. Speaking of shirts. Ah! Speaking of shirts, these are now available on Armor Class 10. So Armor Class 10, lovely folks there. Thanks Jake, thanks Jay, thanks Mark. ArmorClass10.com. You can pick up some crazy Dave Taylor miniatures merch. It's pretty wild.
Someone on Facebook said snow and ice.
Yeah.
Snow and ice.
Ooh.
That's no good. Is that
Let's see.
Midwest? or
Brian says, I am here. Also, I was wrong, all caps. I thought Blanca was actually Rude, who my novella is about.
Oh, okay. So this isn't your character then. Okay, then. I will paint him anyway.
Oh, wow. So Jason says, painting on hold for me for this moment. Printing, assembling a Terra-esque?
No, I didn't.
Haven't made it to
Sorry.
FLGS to stock up in a while.
Oh, okay. I wonder if that was a...
Friendly local game store.
Oh, no.
It's an acronym now.
No, I meant the other word that you were stumbling over. Was it a... Was it an autocorrect?
I don't know.
Okay.
Tarrasque.
Tarask.
Sure. I assume Jason is either going to let us know what it is, or you would know.
No. I suspect it's a D&D monster. That's what I'm going to guess.
Timothy says, you need a shirt of the mug I gave you.
Oh. Thanks, Tim. It's man, that was ages ago. I got a big stein from my friend Tim Kaluna that has "What would Dave Taylor do?" to be asked when it comes to painting, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
Drink out of the paint water cup.
probably do that.
You just did that.
Great. I do it before the show. And you say, "Don't worry, I won't tell anybody." What's the third thing you do? I don't know. It's nothing sacred. Nothing.
It's the same as licking a brush.
That's where I get my power from. That's where I get my power. You have to ingest the paint water.
You have to become the paint
You have
water
to become the paint
in
water.
order to paint with the paint water.
Pretty much.
Ah, big D&D dragon thing.
Big D&D dragon.
That's what
thing.
it is.
Ah, I was right.
Eats everything. D&D version of Godzilla. I want to see what
Oh,
that
wow.
is now. That sounds cool. That sounds like something I'd want to paint.
Yeah, you definitely have to post some photos of that in the group. That would be cool. But, yes. So have you decided what colors you're going to put down on?
Yes.
Koi dog?
So I have the flush color that you gave me, pale
Right,
flush,
pale
and I'll
flush.
probably end up using a few other colors with that to make her cheeks pop out a little more and add some dimension. And then I'm going to attempt what you said to do for the tights, because she
Okay.
has ripped up tights, which you cannot see. But she does, I promise. And we are going to try to make them look sheer and ripped up.
Cool.
So we'll see how that works.
I think that'll be
And then the shifter paints.
shifter paints. Cool.
trying a whole lot of things today.
Excellent.
And you were told that you had to do gray flesh.
Gray, yeah, sort of gray.
Grayish.
Yeah. So, and that was when Brian thought I was painting his character. But now that I'm not.
Now that you're free.
Yes, now that I'm free. So I thought with the description of like gray, I think Brian's description was on the gray side of flesh. So I wasn't sure whether that would be like gray flesh tending towards like a pinkish kind of look, or pinkish tending towards gray, or a darker flesh tone tending towards gray. So what I've chosen to go with is starting with a base of dark gray from Vallejo, and yeah, then I'll just build up from there, adding in some dwarf skin sort of color, give it a bit more of a little bit of a sort of Caucasian flesh tone sort of in there as well. I think we'll be talking about skin tones a little bit.
We are going to be talking about skin tones a little bit today.
So somebody in the group asked about that, and there's obviously sort of a huge variety of skin tones, and the I think there'll be some stuff that we'll talk about. We won't necessarily go into sort of actually actioning on the miniatures.
Painting, yeah.
Primarily because we're painting stuff for gaming. If you're painting stuff for display, you can get a lot more. You want to go in and put a lot more depth and variety into skin tones. I'm going to put my hand under there. My skin, for example, is you can see it looks fairly pale over here. There are sort of some darker patches. There are looks quite pink on my thumb here. There's also some greenish sort of areas, particularly around these veins, sort of greenish bluish tinges. A little bit of olive in there. So what I'm saying is there are a lot of different colors in there.
I'm just
blinded.
Super pale. Super pale. But I think the easiest thing to do, the cheater method for learning about skin tones, if there's something that you really struggle with, is start by looking at your own, because you're gonna start noticing a lot more things, and you'll always have that reference. But also, if you go to different like makeup sites, a lot of the times they're going to have really nice lighting and stock pictures of people using their product, including those cool and those warm undertones.
Okay.
So you'll be able to get a really nice idea of how to pull those swatches. And this is just like with plain neutral lighting.
Yep.
This isn't getting into if you have warm or cool lighting going on or anything like that. But as far as trying to get a diverse range of skin tones, that's going to be a really nice way to like pick out how to get the right color shadows if you have a warm skin tone that you're working with versus something a little bit cooler.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting, it's a resource I did not know about. I didn't pay attention to, I guess I should say, until I was painting in college, and someone was like, "Hey, just like go to Maybelline or something and look up all the different skin tones they have." You can also, Pinterest has really good painting tips, like charts of skin tones, where they'll have a bunch of different skin tones, and then next to that they'll have likely shadow colors and likely highlight colors. And you can see those next to each other and figure out, according to your paints or your mixes or what look you're really going for, how to get that effect.
Okay.
Which I think is really, really nifty.
Cool.
Knowing if you want blue shadows or pink highlights or whatnot.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. I was going to also suggest head to your local art gallery.
Ah, yes.
Check out the particularly the classical section. Take a one round look at the portraits. Have a close up look. Check out some of those. then also have a lot of fun with the contemporary portraits,
That's true.
which will. Notice that a lot of them actually sort of mess around with or over exaggerate some of the tones that you have in you'll find in skins.
I think another fun tip that you could try too is finding a picture of a skin tone that you want to work with.
Yep.
Whether it's a cosplayer with the paint going on, or because you need like something more like blue or green or whatever, or digital art or anything, and then putting it into an editing program, like a simple one,
Okay.
and turning it into Pixelate,
Right.
and then
Okay.
you'll be able to like drag and pretty much just pick colors from
Right,
that
okay.
that you know are gonna play nice together and get the effect you want.
Right. All sorts of different ways to
There's a ton of different
get those.
things.
sort of things. So, yeah.
Byron says, Brian, sorry, not Byron. CP Steel, for my gray side of flesh, I did Secret Weapon rubber tire highlighted with light grays, then sepia washed to tone back into the fleshy spectrum, then highlight again with top tan.
Okay. That's an interesting way to do that. Yeah, cool.
He also says he misses you.
I miss you too. Brian and I used to work together at Come On when we were both working on Dark Age and Wrath of Kings.
So you worked on Dark Age?
I was, I basically was a consultant for Come On for about 18 months, working on their miniature ranges, community development, promotions, that kind of thing. And Brian worked for them for a while, left for a little while, and then came back just sort of shortly after I started. And Brian was like brand manager for Dark Age for his last little stint there. So yeah, we would talk regularly. And then as happens in the life of a freelancer, you move on. I know it sounds sad, but it's all right. You get to meet more people. But
You're
the
an
downside, of
experience,
course,
Dave. Said you're an experience.
I am an experience.
Can't be held back by anyone.
I do struggle to work in an office environment,
I feel that.
but yeah, definitely a lot of fun working with Brian. Brian has a little show that he does each week as well. It's not a painting show. It's a show called Tales from the Professional Nerd,
That sounds fun.
which is super cool, on YouTube. Everybody should check that out. It's a bit of get your Brian CP Steele loving. Brian's done a lot of different things in the gaming industry, and he is freelancing again. So he chats about work that he's things that he's working on, challenges that he is facing, exciting things that are coming up in the industry. So definitely cool stuff to check out. And as we used to say, Brian has never met a microphone that he doesn't like. It's true. It's true.
Brian says, he was my muse.
Who was his muse? You. Me?
I assume. Yes. Leona's like, whether or not it was or wasn't, it is.
I find that difficult to believe. It was kind of funny. He'd be doing a weekly, well, not weekly, basically do a live stream about the game and things that we had coming up for it, and I'd have to watch it and be there in the chat, to cut him off when he was going to go too far, reveal too many secrets. But
Oh, so he was like Tom Holland.
yeah. Brian is totally the Tom Holland of the gaming industry.
There's worse things to be than the Tom Holland of the gaming industry.
This is true. But I also had to say that as well because Brian's a huge DC fan. He much prefers DC over Marvel. So. But, yeah. I think Brian's approach that he described for painting the sort of the grey skin, starting with a dark grey and building up through lighter greys, will give you great sort of tonal values. You get to see those, and then that glaze that he did with the sepia, just bring that all back into that sort of slightly brown, slightly yellowish kind of area. But this guy here has got so much, there's so much sort of depth and detail on those, on his face and on those muscles that I'm really enjoying just messing around with. By adding this dwarf skin into the dark grey and highlighting, just layering up on each of these bits of musculature. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for these little, I want to say like rocky bits, yeah, sort of sticking out there. Whether I should go with the same sort of highlight color, or if I should work on a different highlight for them. So Brian, are they rocks embedded in this troll's skin, or are they like nodes, hardwired nodes, or something like that?
Let's
have in there.
see. He hasn't responded yet, but he says he also loves Spider-Man, so it's cool.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can pattern a little bit on these tights.
Yeah?
We're seeing.
Okay.
There's an attempt. I thought, why not? Try something new.
Try something new. Exactly.
Either it'll work or it won't.
What pattern?
Like a little crosshatch. A little fishnetty. So I'm going to attempt it before the end.
Before the end.
This way I'm getting
This is the end.
the difficult part out of the way first. And my hands aren't shaking as I struggle to be like, I want to try to do the thing.
Right, okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Get it done when your hands are fresh.
Yeah.
And there's still caffeine in your system.
There's still caffeine in my system. I'm ready to go, you know.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Cool.
I make no guarantees on anything that I paint other than it will get painted.
Yep.
Oh dear. And then I throw the paints
That's the way to do it.
for extra enthusiasm.
Apparently, they're calcium deposits,
Calcium deposits?
like body horns.
That's
Okay.
cool.
In that case, I'll probably do them the same sort of highlight colors. So I can pop in and do those now, which is cool. There we go. So I think my introduction to the sort of the cyberpunk genre, cyberpunk aesthetic, was probably pretty similar to quite a few people's introduction, and that would be
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner.
How did I
Which is-
know?
Well, I don't know. How did you know?
I don't know. I just thought, what was the oldest
Just lucky guess.
cyberpunk
That
I
was
can
that was.
think of?
I'd fight back, but I'm too old. Yep. Yes, Blade Runner.
I don't actually
So-
recall any other, like... That's, I think, the most famous cyberpunk.
Wasn't
Any-
it kind of like Like the first?
No, I don't think it was the first. I think there was a few, like...
Second?
Yeah.
It's certainly the best.
Definitely.
The best.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm going to go with the best, not having seen much else, but yeah.
Because there was, there were a few, like, comics and I think, like, anime cartoons that came out that had the aesthetic, too. But they all came out in the 80s as well, so I don't know.
Right.
I can only guesstimate.
Yeah.
By the time I was alive, everyone was obsessed with steampunk.
Oh, okay.
Because no one wanted to care about the future anymore.
The future was a bit frightening. Frightening.
I don't blame them.
The no, I loved. I still love Blade Runner.
Did you see the new one?
Blade Runner 2049. Yes, I did, and I love that too. Again, it's primarily that's the aesthetics of that. It's the
I think they're fun aesthetics. Like, I think that it's the neon lights and that everything while still being gritty
yeah.
is a very interesting and fun thing.
It's that dystopian thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey, check this out! It's great. It's flashy, but everybody else is going, well, not really. It's all a bit crap, isn't it? Just struggling to survive.
Apparently, the YouTube chat isn't working. Like, it's not showing up.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
no.
We have some friends in YouTube.
YouTube.
Kat, Timothy, David.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah,
guys.
they're not showing up. I only see one person.
Yep.
Shout out. I'm gonna try and fix it.
Okay.
Leona,
Do your
So-
best, Leona. Leona is on the case.
Leona's on the case, going to get some of that YouTube chat action going on, so we apologize for that. But yeah, there's so much that I love about there's so many different, I guess, classic storylines, contemporary storylines that can be put into that situation
Yeah.
and brought together in a lot of different ways. That to make things really quite exciting. And I love it's movies like The Matrix.
That's definitely, yeah. in the
Like
same,
fit in that, yeah.
same realm.
They sort of highlight the idea, which is pretty key to Shadowrun, is that the idea of existing within a digital system.
Yeah.
So and that's the sort of the main focus there. There's a series of books, a series of novels that I read when I was a lot younger that I really can't remember now. So I'm going to throw, hopefully somebody in the chat might know. But I think it might be the Otherworld series. I can't remember. But it was basically a story of how people lived in two worlds. There was the real world and and sort of essentially the Matrix kind of thing. It wasn't that they were fooled into living in the Matrix, but they could go there to escape that classic sort of cyberpunk trope. And but yeah, that had some fantastic things in it where so there was an assassin who whenever he was preparing for a job would have a soundtrack that he played in his head. He was the only one who could hear it.
How many of
And-
us would do that? I mean, not the assassination, but the soundtrack.
The soundtrack thing, exactly. And lots of cool ideas like that. But when you have a setting that where you aren't constrained completely by the physical, you're sort of constrained by your imagination. I think that's really cool. I mean, even in D&D and things like that, the world you're in still has some physical limitations. But when you're online in cyberspace,
Oh, what was it? Ready Player One
right?
came out, and that kind of explored it a little bit.
Yep.
Sword Art Online was a cartoon that came out a while ago and had the same kind of premises.
You like go into the world.
Yeah, you go. It's a
And
VR headset, pretty much,
Okay.
except much better than what we have available right now.
Okay.
And in that particular cartoon, someone hacks into it and people get stuck in the VR world.
Okay.
So their bodies are stuck, those that don't, perish.
Right. Okay.
But if you die
They
in the
don't starve.
VR, pretty
Right,
much.
okay.
And if you die in the VR world, you die in real life, which is where all the
Right.
drama comes from.
Yep.
But it's centered around a group of people who are just somewhere in between. We just want to survive, and also maybe we should look for a way out.
Right. Okay. Interesting. What was that called? Sorry.
Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online.
It's an anime.
Okay.
It came out a while ago and has a few other series that are like based off of it or around it. The
Right.
concept.
That sounds pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, someone said the music in the head, it's like Baby Driver. Baby Driver?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah. Yep. It's that same idea where it's probably something that centers and focuses. But actually, yeah, when I saw Baby Driver, I was like, oh, that's just like that. Of course, I can't remember the name of it. It was a series of like very large novels, like 700 plus pages. So I haven't read them multiple times. I've only read them the once.
Da-da-da. Dave says, hi guys, longtime listener, first time caller. I'm working on Star Wars Legion minis right now.
Awesome. Fantastic. Which ones? Which Star Wars Legion minis?
And
There's so many of them out now.
Brian Dunley says, fun fact, the actor that played the main character is a Golden Demon winner from the old Baltimore Games days.
Yeah. Ansel Elgort. Yep. He does know his way around painting miniatures. I think there's actually an interview with him on Conan, where he talks about painting toy soldiers.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Leon was like, nerd. Can I actually have one of those?
These?
Perhaps? Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mind reader.
Yep.
That's what that
One of
is.
those things and stuff.
All right, I'm gonna try and make
Okay.
You're gonna do the stuff.
YouTube chat. Sorry, everyone. I don't know if you can really see that.
I can squint at it real good.
Woohoo! Yes, there we go.
You see it?
There we go. Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. David Moffat says Gundam build divers would be my choice spot for cyberspace living. What do Gundam build divers do? But do they build Gundams? Where does the diver come in? Do they dive for Gundam builds?
Why
What?
would the Gundam
Well-
builds be in need of diving for?
Well, because the water levels have risen so high. That's one of the things I loved about, I loved in Blade Runner 2049 was that huge wall that had to be built along the coast. So, I mean, it's set in LA, and they go down to sort of San Diego.
Yeah.
They fly down to San Diego. But the big wall that they go past is that's the Pacific Ocean being kept out. But it's like 50, 60, 70 feet above the ground level of LA. So perhaps Gundam build divers have to die for Gundam builds. And Kat says, "Yippee Skippy, we've now joined in." Thanks, Leona.
No, it's so difficult. Precision. That's it.
And David Moffat says, "You got to build your Gundam, set them on the Geo base or Go base, and then load them into the system." Now imagine I've never built a Gundam before, nor participated in any conversations about building Gundams. I'm just saying that sometimes when there's jargon, it's the wah 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 wah.
I know a little bit about Gundam because I have a bunch of friends that like to build them, and some like to paint them, some kind of build them and then are afraid they'll mess them up by painting them.
Right. So what's the Go base?
I'm not that. Can I phone a friend?
No.
That's a little bit, not a whole lot.
This is not Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. This is Penny Happy Little Minis. You get no phone call.
I had no phone calls, just
this isn't even prison. Yep, no phone calls.
I call up my friend after this and be like, "I didn't know the answer. Why didn't you train me better? You should have prepared me for this in life."
Exactly. But no, David said after that you then dive into your avatar pilot, into the Gundam.
Okay.
That's pretty.
That's cool.
Pretty neat. I guess the Gundam is in cyberspace.
Oh, okay, that makes
No,
more
he
sense.
means-
And that'd be a cool
Is that
VR
right?
game.
He means to control the Gundam, you have to dive. So people who control them are called Gundam divers, right?
Okay.
That's what
I
he said.
feel like that's correct.
I'm-
I feel like that.
I just realized I have.
You look up and
Some
let me fix my.
So, we get a close up on that.
No, let's not.
Too late. There we are.
But
It's a good time.
I guess that's why I'm confused. I think I've always. He says, "Yeah, the owner's got it." So the owner knows what
Yes.
Dave's talking about. I apologize.
Gundam.
See, I thought they would have been called like pilots.
I think
That's
it
what I'd
depends
call
on where the Gundam are from.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it's, yeah.
Like from my head, or
like if it's from, because it's not just like one series that's like Gundam.
oh, okay.
There's multiple. Yeah, that's a genre. Ish. I don't.
It's like
Yep.
the mecha genre.
It's
Okay,
the blind
okay.
leading the blind here. Is what?
That's the
Also-
impression I'm getting.
For
But-
the Star Wars Legion, apparently he's working on his second Boba Fett.
Oh, cool. Is that there?
That would be David.
David, cool. Second Boba Fett. Are you doing one? Oh no, that would be Jango Fett. My bad. Are you going to do that? A Boba Fett and a Jango Fett? Jango Fett, I think.
Jenga, like the game.
Like a Jenga Fett. Pull out his rocket and everything falls apart. That would be bad. Well, that's cool. But yeah, I think there's just so many excellent things about the cyberpunk dystopian trope. I think,
I mostly just enjoy the fashion.
right, and that's fair too.
It's weird. I appreciate the fact that people are so brave and bold.
Right. You're talking about the clear plastic raincoat, right?
Obviously.
Okay, right. No, I really like the. Oh, mine's gone blank. The way that it's sort of impacted other sci-fi things as well, like Elysium. Elysium is a great one. As I'm here, it's like painting sort of weapons that would be perfectly held by a sort of crazy sort of exoskeleton. There's just a lot of great things that can mesh together. What am I looking for now?
I am getting a base coat on my skin tone.
Cool.
Back of the question of the day. And then I'm gonna go through and I think I'm gonna add a little bit of pink here and there to make her look a little flushed because she's fighting.
Okay.
And then I'll do some shading.
That's probably a good idea.
Apparently, Gundam is the franchise, and Gunpla are the models.
Yeah, well, I knew Gunpla were the models. That I did know.
I've heard that word and it has confused me as well.
The
So
Gunpla models?
I'm easily confused.
Okay.
It's because
On
I'm
today's
old.
show,
I want to
we
get
learned
Gunpla now to paint just to watch you just be like, no, you'd have to put them together first because they don't come assembled. Challenge for Dave. Out of your element. Genre
Yes.
swapped.
You're right. I've never assembled a model before.
I meant a Gunpla model. But
Never.
Sure. Have you never assembled one for real? Or have you just assembled it and been like, I don't know what
Well,
this thing is,
not-
but I will assemble it for
not-
I have all of the assembly bits.
Not a gunpla thing, but I've done yes, many other models.
Well, yeah, that's why I thought it'd be shake it up a little bit.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you
Not
meant.
that-
I thought you meant like the difference between painting and assembling.
No, I meant
That's
like,
where I was going.
You'd have to assemble it before you painted it, and I was like an added layer to this onion of
Okay,
difficulty.
I guess that was the thing. Okay, so it's not only would I not understand the painting of it, I would not understand the building of it.
I feel like you would understand the building of it, but I feel like it would be different than what you have previously put together.
That's true. But I suspect that
I honestly think.
I suspect when you like clip them off the sprues that they have like little numbers and you follow the instructions.
Oh no.
No? Okay.
I don't know any of how that's put
I'm
together.
pretty sure.
hashtag Dave builds Gunpla.
Dave builds gunpla.
Someone send one of those kits in that I definitely know are super expensive. And it'll be fine.
No. That's okay. That's okay. But I mean, it is Cyberpunk. It's just intertwined so much with sci-fi that, and there are so many elements, I think, from all sorts of sci-fi stuff that you'd have found in Cyberpunk.
That's
There's
fair.
just so much you can do. That's the exciting part of it for me, I think.
Is just the anything's possible kind of
Yeah.
vibe. It's the future.
I guess it's the anything's possible, but only if you're like super rich or a corporation. And then not much else is possible if you're everybody else. And you've got to work out how you're going to get what's possible. I think I've been seeing a lot of stuff over the last week about season 2 of Altered Carbon.
I was actually about to bring that up because that's definitely within the realm of.
Oh yeah. That whole idea of Reese leaving.
Creepy.
Yep. Amazing. But creepy at the same time. So one thing I'm going to say with the model here, I wanted to paint his armor, like his flak jacket, or not flak jacket. His like vest here in black to be like a carbon fiber kind of thing. But then I realized that his webbing, like his belt, and you've got to match the belt to the shoes, right?
Obviously, yeah.
That's fashion.
That's
Fashion tip number
you
one.
can't be in a punk like environment like this
Yep.
without fashion.
Without fashion, for sure. So, and the gloves, of course, have to match that too. Then.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, well, I would normally have done the belt black, belt and the boots black, but I've just done the vest black. So I had to switch it up. So I've gone with a, what's obviously a faux leather, because in 2080, when this is set, there won't be animals anymore. They won't be making leather.
I mean, I feel like they would definitely still be animals, just
Well, they'll be super expensive. If Blade Runner 2049 is anything to go by, and this will be like 31 years later. So, sorry.
You guys only use Citadel painting? Where did you get the cheapest trays? So we have a multitude of paints. We
do.
have the Citadel contrast paints. We have Vallejo paints. We have the paints that I drop. We have the D&D paints.
Yep. We've got, we have some secret weapon paints. We've got some P3 paints. We've got a range of stuff. What's on my palette at the moment?
What's
At
on
the
your
moment, it's lots of
palette right
Vallejo.
now?
But, pardon? But I also brought out my coal black from P3, which when mixed with ivory from Vallejo will give a great, that sort of carbon fiber look to the highlighting once I get to the, going back to highlight that vest. But yeah, we use a mix of stuff there, Daniela.
Also, I'm sorry to report, but I don't have any photos for us.
No photos
For
today.
some reason, the program deleted the photos I was trying to use.
Oh.
Technical difficulties happen.
Okay, so yes, we have to apologize. The dog ate Leona's homework.
It did.
That's really the only way we can put that. All
Brian, Gundam wing. There's more Gundam talk. You opened up a black hole of Gundam.
I did not open up a black hole of Gundam. I said I don't understand, and you pushed. You pushed. That was you, not me. But yes. So yes, for anybody who's new to the show, typically during the show we'll have about a dozen, 2 dozen photos of fantastic miniatures painted by members of the Painting Happy Little Minis Facebook group that they've posted over the previous week. Sadly today, the system not only ate the chat for a little while, but has also eaten the photos. So next week we will have a triple helping.
Yeah.
Sure,
Maybe we'll show 3 lots of photos,
we can do that.
which will be good. I think that'll be cool. But yes, we apologize. Which is crazy because, of course, last week I very rarely put up photos. I should put them up more often.
I know, this week.
Yeah. I put up a terrain piece, and I actually meant to bring it today, but dog ate my homework.
Could we see your minis on the spinner just to see where they are?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right now?
Sorry. Just,
Doo-doo.
yep.
Doop.
Okie dokie.
Haha.
So
Oh, is-
Gretchen, what's going on with yours?
So I am doing the skin right now. So I have the ripped tights, which I tried to do some cross-hatching work. I'm not really sure if I like that or not. Might change that. And then with her skin tone, I am making it really flushed because she's in the middle of battle. And then I'm probably going to go through and kind of chill that out a little bit with some shading. So,
Cool.
we'll see.
And I always love putting it on the spinner because I get to see all the spots that I missed when I was base coating. So I will get some more of put some more black paint out and touch those up. But yeah, I think my next steps. At the moment, I'm just getting down some base colors, and then base coats, and then I can come back and finish the work there. I wanted to get the highlighting on the flesh done first, just to sort of set the character and sort of set the tone, because that was the only color that I had that I wanted to sort of start with. I've got to balance everything off that, so it should be good. But yeah, now I get to go and touch up all of those spots.
Also, Kat said Dave posted and the system crashed.
What are you suggesting there, Kat? It's not my fault. I don't know how to work these things. Daniello said, I will start painting my Corvus Belli Infinity miniatures. People told me to use Citadel, but Citadel is expensive. I think I would use the stuff you find in Walmart. I would advise against that. Basically, miniature paints, be they Citadel, be they Vallejo, be they the ones for D&D from the Army Painter, are formulated for painting miniatures. Paints you get in Walmart are craft paints that are formulated for using big brushes and painting over paper or cardboard or whatever. And the grain is different. The way that they adhere to the models is different. When you're paying the money that you are for miniatures, I think it's well worth it to go with miniature paints. Paints designed for that
Not
purpose.
to knock Walmart, but to knock Walmart. Sometimes their paints aren't even good for painting. Like if you're at least bring the bar up to Michael's.
Yep. That's also fair. But yeah. That's my recommendation.
And you don't have to splurge right away on all of the paints. As long as you have at least all the primary colors, you can knock out quite a good deal of mixing.
Yeah.
I would say as long as you have the primary colors, a good purple, and a good skin tone that you like, because those are, for me, the hardest to mix.
And I'm going to say black and white, and then you're going to say they're part of the primary colors. Is that what you're going to do?
No.
I can see the way that was going.
I would include them in just the basic, like,
Sure.
kit of things.
I agree, yes. Yes. And that would be like you'd start with the saturated red and the saturated blue and saturated yellow.
Yeah. And if you want to get really fancy, you can also do like the painterly basics that they would send you in art school and get yourself a ultramarine blue kind of hue. Something a little bit darker than that.
Something like this?
Yeah, something kind of like that. And then I don't know what the burnt sienna version is. Probably the brown that you like.
Charred brown?
Charred brown, yeah, charred brown.
Possibly.
Comes in like every paint kit.
Yep.
That you can get for
And one of the things I'll say as well that's important is that as long as you take care of the paint pots and you close them up each time after using them, after getting the paint out, and you don't let air get in, your paints can last you a very long time.
And I don't spill them.
You don't, and yeah, as long as Gretchen isn't there knocking over your paints. Actually, that one that you did, I still have some of that.
Oh, see?
Yep. So I haven't used it all.
Also, someone on Facebook had to go. Don't know who it was. But
Aw.
they said, catch you later.
That was Brian Steele.
Oh, catch you
Bye,
later, Brian. I think Brian
Thanks
is
for stopping by.
now off to to record his show,
Some
which I think comes
there
out
are
on
some
Fridays.
Good comments on YouTube as well about painting.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. There we go.
You gonna share with the class?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought the class would read it. My bad. David Moffat said, yeah, you can paint some nice stuff with craft paint. If you're just starting out, then it's best to begin with some proper paints. Proper paints being paints designed for it. Kat says, I paint terrain and use craft paints for painting terrain, but started minis and bought a starter set of mini paints, and she just mixes the colors from there. So,
That's fair.
yep. We have brought Kat to the dark side, which is pretty cool.
Wahahaha.
No. And Red Sven 76 says for starting to paint, Serasto has a great series for Lord of the Rings board game that uses one Vallejo paint set and a few washes. Yeah, Mark Serastro has a great series of painting tutorials that are definitely worth checking out. He's also a huge Star Wars fan, so if anybody is big into their Star Wars and wants to get some good ideas for painting Star Wars minis, Serastro. David Moffat says, remember to add protective runes to your Citadel paint pots to keep them from drying out. Yep. Absolutely true. But yeah, that's for particularly the Citadel pots, that's kind of, that's one thing I definitely suggest is keep an eye on them, keep them clean, keep the lids tightly closed, and they can last you a while.
I saw a picture in the group.
Yep.
Someone put the potted paint in like a drip bottle. They like transferred it.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was quite a few people who have done that sort of thing where they're taking it from the Citadel style pot like this, and transferred it to the dropper style pot like Vallejo and the Army Painter use. So, but that is quite a bit of work if you've got all Citadel paints. But you can certainly try that. There's actually a Kickstarter running at the moment for dropper top attachments that you can put onto your Citadel paint pots.
That's really cool.
So
I feel like that'll end up going over really well.
yep, I think it's going pretty well at the moment. The Kickstarter itself is going pretty well, and the guy running it intends to make them available in retail afterwards. So, but yeah, I think it's really the only complaint about the GW paint is the pots that they're in. But yeah, so hopefully that will alleviate some of those issues. But I think I've almost got all the base coating. I mean, I'm tempted to put it back on the spinner so I can see any other spots that I might have missed.
I mean, do it. We have the time. We don't have the minis today, so we are the work in progresses
Excellent.
today.
Yep.
Do.
Okay, I'm just going to pop that back on the spinner so I can find some of the spots. Oh, look at them. They jump out straight away. Maybe I should just paint it. Okay. Thanks, Leona. The funny part is when they then go and look at it, I don't end up looking at the same angle. But there we go. Or when I look at it, those areas are in shadow, so they look like they're painted. Now I've got some fairly natural colors going on with this guy, but obviously a troll is not a particularly natural thing, except maybe there's the Shadowrun
Except
world.
when it is.
But I don't think it's actually natural in the world. It's a like a genetic construct kind of thing. So I decided I'm going to go for a lovely bright blue shock of hair up here.
Yeah, I think I might
Just
add some pink in there with that
Yep,
blue.
something bright and punky.
Something bright and punky, you know.
Yeah.
You know how it is with fashion.
Speaking of, I just remembered. Speaking of bright,
Yes.
the Netflix movie,
Oh right, that is very
that's super Shadowrun
yeah.
in its approach, in that there are orcs and elves in the world.
That idea of taking what you normally only see in fantasy genres that are like Middle Ages and
Yep.
putting them into a modern environment.
It's very cool. Very neat idea.
John says, Dave, do you use the AK True Metals?
I have not used the AK True Metals at all. The AK Interactive. I haven't used those. I will admit I'm not particularly adventurous. I kind of have my set recipes of stuff. That's why you knew that charred brown was going to be just like a bits. Yeah. But yeah, so I haven't tried those at all. How have you found them?
We'll wait for that to. We'll wait for that response.
Yep. Cool. Excellent.
Try to get as many base colors on as possible.
Oh, David Moffat says that all of his Citadel paints live in dropper bottles now. And apparently it's one of his most popular videos. I guess watching paint pour is more exciting than watching paint dry. Is that right, Dave? Yeah. And Daniela says that has Shadowrun. Get the beginner box and learning the rules, but difficult to find communities to play. Tell me to get into a D&D community, invite them to play Shadowrun. That's one way to do it.
Oh, that's one way to do it.
Infect them from the inside, like a virus, like a computer virus. And just infect them that way. And David says, we need to get Adventurous Dave on the show so he can paint up some gunpla with AK metals.
Yes.
See, it's Adventurous
That's such a
Dave,
good idea.
who is different from Cool Dave.
Oh yeah.
So if Cool Dave has the hat around backward,
Yeah.
how do we know when you're Adventurous Dave?
I don't know. We'd have to find Adventurous Dave and ask him.
You have different colored glasses on or something.
Like red frames.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Red frames is adventurous.
So I would look a little bit more like Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
That would be it.
I was gonna say you slick your hair back different.
Right.
It's
Okay.
like parted to the
yeah,
side.
Parted. Adventurous Dave is parted down here. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we can find that guy one day.
I would
Okay.
agree with Daniello in that it's hard to find people who want to play sci-fi stuff. Most people just want to play D&D,
Okay.
but
I think sci-fi stuff gets a bad rap of being more,
complex.
more complex and less fantastical in nature. Whereas D&D, I feel like anything that follows that same formula of stuff, people feel very comforted.
Yeah.
Like they're like, it'll be easy. I don't have to learn more math. Yay!
Except I am excited with the 6th run, because I think 6th run, they kind of streamlined some of the fighting
Okay.
and like upgrading that you can do. So
Right.
I'm excited to check that out.
Yep.
Maybe at the next convention,
I think
I'll sit down.
right. Yeah.
When you're not there for work and hurting all of us cats.
Or maybe when I'm there for work and I'll go off by myself.
That would be cool. You should definitely check that out. I think, I think that there's there can be the potential for when you're playing something sci-fi, cyberpunk, as when we talked about being able to do anything,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I remember when I played some Vampire the Masquerade. In there, you have your vampires. Everybody who's in the party is a vampire, and they all have different specialities and that sort of thing. But it was kind of like whenever we'd meet some potential threat, something we hadn't worked out whether it was a threat or not.
Yeah.
One of the guys in our party who had high, I think the stat was called like celerity, would attack, and we'd all be standing around going, "We haven't talked about this yet. We want to work out what we're going to do." And he'd just be like, because he would always have initiative. It was jacked up so high, which is a little bit, I think, when you have things like stims or implants or hardwired exoskeletons and that sort of stuff, it can have a sense of pushing it beyond what you might have in D&D. But I think a lot of that can come down to can be mitigated by the game master.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like it's dependent on who you're playing with.
Yeah.
And having that good group of core people who all understand what they want to get out of the game.
Yeah.
Because when you have that group of people and one person wants to play it silly and the other person wants to play it serious, is when you start getting, I think, into more situations like that.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
I like a fine line. I like
Between silly and serious?
Yes.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, because
I think whimsy all the way for you.
well, no, because if it's too much whimsy all the way, then you don't get a fulfilling storyline.
Okay.
Literally yesterday, I said a touch of whimsy,
You said a
And
touch of whimsy?
and it reminded me of you, Gretchen.
Just a little sprinkle.
A touch of whimsy.
Just ding, just like that. Don't worry, it was not the painty side.
No.
It was
I'm
the-
going to see if I can get a shot of this. I'm going to pop this on the spinner again, so we can get a better look at that.
but
I think we
yes.
might need to mess around with the contrast on the, actually, let's spin. There we go.
Someone on Facebook said Dave would have a cybernetic eye smart linked to his brush.
Oh, how sweet would that be? You'd never miss a spot. Never. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that's a little bit tougher to see on the back there, but that coal black and the ivory mix is working pretty well on the thing there. Cool. Sorry. But I think I'll just take some highlights up a little bit higher here. And maybe do a little bit of cross-hatching.
A little bit of cross-hatching. It doesn't look too bad from like a distance, but I don't think I ended up really liking how that turned out. I was like, okay. I think with the shading that I did, which will probably be washed out when I put it on the spinner, I think it would have been much more successful without the extra. But you know what? I'm glad I tried something new.
You're adventurous.
I am.
Check that out.
Yeah,
Yep,
you can put it
let's
on
check
the
it out.
spinner.
Let's come along there. Looking good. What did you use for her shorts?
For her shorts, I mixed a little bit of the owlbear brown with the pale flesh and glistening blood.
Oh, okay. Does that get a little bit of depth in there? Was the glistening blood a little bit darker, or is it brighter?
I just wanted something a little bit warmer than
Right,
khaki.
okay.
I didn't want a straight khaki with all the brown, but I wanted it to still be kind of in the same color family.
Okay.
And the glistening blood is also what I did to kind of add a little bit of flushed to her complexion that you can't see up there.
Okay.
But I wanted them to.
see a little
You
bit.
can see it in her face. That's like the only place because the shadow goes, and then
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. As it comes around there.
yeah. But I wanted that to kind of keep it all connected,
Okay,
so to speak.
excellent. That was good.
So we'll see. We'll see how that keeps going. It's a lot of desaturated colors, and then I'm hoping that when I go in to add some more touches of really bright things like the pink or yellow or something, then it'll be more vibrant.
Right.
But she has fringes and cowboy boots on. Like, I don't know if she knows that she's in a cyberpunk environment. Like,
Oh, she knows. She knows. She's aware. Sure.
She got that cowboy. She looks like she's ready to go to a festival.
True.
So
In cyberspace. Cyberspace raves are all the best.
have you been to many?
I'm imagining that cyberspace raves are the best.
I wouldn't know. I haven't
Okay.
been to
We haven't been to
No.
any. Can you imagine it though?
I can. I don't know if it would be my jam.
Okay. What about real space raves? Meat space. Raves in the meat space.
Makes me think that someone's in like a butcher shop.
Yeah.
um,
Okay. On the so I used desert yellow on these pants to just for the base. Now I'm going to throw over a. I'm going to use the contrast paint snakebite leather. Just thin it down a little bit, and use it like a wash.
By the way, Kat asks, has Dave been to any raves? Which I think is a good question.
obviously. I mean, look at him.
I've seen movies where raves take place, and yes. What was that? What was the movie? I can't remember the name of the movie. But whenever you see them in movies, they're always very dangerous. Something happens to the main character, or
I've never seen a movie or depiction or had friends tell me about raves where anything good has happened.
right? Yeah.
That's so true.
Well, what was it? Speaking of vampires, there are a couple of vampire movies, I think, with raves where the rave is essentially a way to trap lots of people and
Doesn't that happen with,
Consume their
I
blood.
was about to say werewolves, but with vampires quite often where there's a ball or a party or a rave? That's a vampire trick right there.
it is. You're right.
I didn't put two and two together, but now anytime I get an invitation, I'm going to be like,
Have I only seen that person at night? Does that person not like garlic? Have I invited that person into my house?
I know someone who's allergic to garlic.
No.
Yeah.
Have they invited you to any raves lately?
No. Actually, there's supposed to be a party this weekend.
Okay, well, be careful there. Just saying. Okay, so yeah, that works very well.
So sorry, could you explain the painting again, Dave?
Oh, can I explain the painting again, or should we talk about raves?
More raves, actually.
Yes.
I'm just not a rave person.
David Moffat says the worst thing that ever happened to me at a rave was getting hugged by very sweaty people.
So just like
That's-
a convention.
That sounds pretty good there, Dave. It does. No, what I was just saying before is that over the desert yellow, which is, oh, sorry. Ask me the question and then cut away from my camera. I don't know. Over the Vallejo desert yellow here, I put I thinned down some of the snakebite leather contrast paint to use as a wash to give that much sort of darker, deeper, grittier kind of feel on it. And I think once that dries, I'll come back and throw some highlights on there. Next step is going to be some of these metallics. And now I know that that most sort of guns, big weapons like this would probably be painted black or be a sort of dark, very dark metal.
I don't know. It is
Well,
Cyberpunk.
you're saying it's kind of fancy, and that
Be kind of whimsy.
he'd get everything chrome plated.
He could.
Yeah, well, that's a possibility, I guess.
It's the future, Dave.
It is the future. I should stop
Forgetting.
applying my 20th century
Yeah.
aesthetics to a 21st century masterpiece.
Exactly.
Cool. I promise to get it right from now on. Okay.
Do better.
Do better?
Do more.
Yep. A friend of mine posted something on Facebook earlier today saying, so I've just sent a coworker a get better soon card.
Yeah.
They're not sick. I just want them to get better.
My favorite thing ever that ever happened was my boyfriend was playing Armada,
Right.
and he was losing. And he mentioned his displeasure in losing, and the daughter of the guy he was playing against, he has twin daughters, and they're about 4. And
Right.
one of them came up to him as he was expressing his displeasure in losing and said, "Why don't you just try winning?" And it was the sickest burn I've ever seen in my life. And
Awesome.
we all sword fight with each other. They're also sword fighting people. So now anytime anyone's failing at a game, sword fighting, life, anything, we just look them square in the eyes and go, "Have you just tried winning?
We just tried winning.
Have you just tried that?" Because it was with all the innocence of a 4-year-old.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool.
When all
We
else
have a-
fails.
We have a good question from Daniello
Oh, yep.
about painting and priming. These
So is it
miniatures-
it's not necessary to use paint primer with Shadowrun? No, these were primed. Leona primed these for us. I think you used Corax White from
Correct.
the Citadel range.
They are not pre-primed.
Yep. So I can't remember what color were they originally?
They were just gray.
Gray. Okay. So yeah, there are some miniatures that come pre-primed, like the WizKids, Knowles' Marvelous Miniature range, the Deep Cuts range are all pre-primed with Vallejo primer. But yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely always a good idea to prime your miniatures first before you paint them. There are companies like the Army Painter and Citadel that do color primers as well. So if you have a lot of minis that you need to paint in a particular color, perhaps red or blue or whatever it might happen to be, you can get that base coat out of the way as well. So, but yeah, so these were primed initially. Obviously, looking at this model now, there's a lot of dark colors on him. The black, the gray skin, that kind of thing. Probably could have been painted up from a black prime,
Yeah, I was thinking that,
but
but I didn't know how you wanted to go.
Yep.
The color scheme.
that's fine. I'm not at all troubled.
And actually, those, I gave them 2 sprays,
Okay.
and I had to they have a lot of crevices.
They
Yep.
do.
So from the bottom, I had to pick them up and spray them specifically.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you can get it where you don't have to really move them,
But yeah, if
but especially on Gretchen's, because they're holding a thing in their hand.
yeah, there's a lot of angles, a lot of details.
I'm learning that now. I'm like,
You're saying you
as I'm going through, I feel like it's like miniature painting yoga.
right.
As I try to get into all of the little crevices with her arms in the way,
Right.
while also not getting paint on anything I've painted.
That can sometimes be the toughest thing, but yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am, why are you holding things this way? You should most definitely not.
Dave, do you have any tips for that? Painting in crevices?
It's funny that you should ask me that after talking about missing all those spots on the when the model was on the spinner. But for priming, usually I prime with my miniatures flat. So if my hand is a flat surface, I will put them down flat first. Prime them from this angle, from underneath. Let that dry. Flip them over. Prime them from underneath. Let that dry. And then stand them up. Hit them from one side. Let that dry. And then spin them around. And hit them from the other side. So, yeah, and usually I'm doing that when I'm priming, like anywhere from 5 to 20 models at a time. And just work through that in stages. Take your time doing it. It's worth getting a nice sort of strong foundation on the model.
Kat has a good question for you, Gretchen.
What?
Why don't you use a holder?
Why don't I use a holder? Because I continuously forget. I have 2 of them. I have the ones that are here that I should be using. And then I have one in my car that was gifted to me that I forget exists. But I see it
It's all
every
good.
time I go
It's
home.
all good.
I bet you if I used it more, that you'd use it more, right?
I'd remember. I'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, that is sure thing.
We should totally do it that way.
That is something.
So now I've switched to using the holder as well. That's just a matter of sort of preference, I guess. Really.
Yeah. I don't know. All right.
Question from YouTube. Basically, Daniela's comment is, do you have to use primer for metal miniatures?
Yeah. So again, if pretty much all miniatures need to be primed or should be primed. And what the primer coat does is it grips to the surface and gives you a good surface to paint over.
Oh, I can give you some Song of Ice and Fire if you want to showcase the difference, like between primed and non-primed. You can see. On the
No,
plastic.
it's okay.
Okay.
I was going to say always prime. You don't always have to spray prime. You can hand prime. So there are quite a few ranges have paints that are much better for priming. So I'm pretty sure the Vallejo does have a primer, like a surface primer, paint-on surface primer that you can use. That again will grip to the model, be they metal, plastic, or resin. And yeah, what that does, it just reduces the amount of paint that you'll have that'll chip off or flake off or rub off as you're using the models. Because that's really what you want to do. You only really want to paint your models once. You don't have to come back and touch them up sort of every couple of months because of handling. So priming is good. I think priming is very important. And then sealing your miniatures with a varnish. Again, you can either use a paint-on varnish or a spray varnish. And certainly, I think initially, some people might kind of balk at the prices for miniature primers or sealants and that kind of thing. But you get a lot of use out of them. Like a can of spray primer, you'll be able to prime 100 plus miniatures with that.
Okay.
And the amount of time that saves you from spraying compared to brush painting is well worth the 12, 15, 20 bucks, however much it might happen to be.
Well, and so often it also just makes the finished product look nicer.
Yeah. Yep. For sure. But, yeah, the metal miniatures from for Infinity from Corvus Belli. Those models are some very, very finely detailed models, some very fine parts. Great looking models, for sure. And you want to make sure that, yeah, you can handle those as safely as possible. But if you've got a group of guys that you're playing with at your local store, and you're a bit worried about the price, you can possibly do. Sorry, I just noticed. Kat said, "Ah, my work is done." Using the holders, holders for all. Catch you later, Kat. But yeah, if you've got a group that you're playing with, and you're worried about the initial outlay for a can of primer, go halves, go thirds, buy a can amongst the group. But it's definitely definitely worthwhile though. I will bang that drum all day long. Some people some people use spray primers they get from big box hardware stores like Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that. My fear with those is always that a lot of those are designed to create a smooth surface
Yeah.
once they dry, and they do that by filling in little gaps. And what's a miniature if nothing but a whole bunch of little gaps to be filled in? So you can lose considerable detail priming with those sort of things, particularly car body primers, which are designed exactly to
Yeah.
fill in those little gaps.
Byron says, first time I painted a mini, I used tester car paints.
Right.
Not a good idea.
No, not a good look. But, okay.
So many tiny things.
Now I know I said earlier that there'd be no real leather in 2080 when
Too bad. 'cause
Shadowrun.
I'm making this.
You're making it.
It's not real leather. Blah, 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 blah.
It's not real leather.
Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's
Faux leather.
faux leather. Yeah, sure. That's fine. I feel like real leather would just last. Just like she has feathers in her hair, Dave. Where did the feathers come from?
They're probably plastic feathers as well.
Or maybe they're feathers that have computer chips in them.
That's a
Right.
cool idea.
And that's like part of her shaman power.
Right. They exist in there, possibly.
Pleather, plastic leather.
Yep.
I really like the idea of a someone who is trying really hard to be attuned with nature when nature has shifted.
Right.
That's a really cool concept to me.
Yep. That's a good point. I must admit, I hadn't really thought about that at all.
Like when the idea of of what nature really means.
Right.
David says, real leather is made out of people? Or is that the wrong dystopic future?
It's one of them.
That would actually be kind of gallows
terrified.
humorly hilarious to have a character who's like, nature, natural elements. This is real leather. And someone's like, wait, I thought you weren't able to get real leather. Like, I thought that wasn't
Yeah.
a commodity anymore. There's no more
Well.
animals. Yeah.
People are animals too.
Just like a really happy, yeah.
people.
Yep. That's that's kind of good work there. Who came up with that one? David? Good work, David. Okay. So yeah, on the faux leather here, I'm just doing my usual leather trick, which is mixing in a sort of a lighter skin tone. So this is the dwarf flesh I was using before, mixing that into the charred brown to get that lighter brown look, but it also has that little tinge of the flesh color coming through. Just using that on the belt and the gloves. I think I'm going to use it on, I'm going to go back on the straps that are holding his armor on over his shoulders. I'm going to go back and paint those brown. Oop.
Can't get my brush strokes as fine as I want. That's okay.
That's always the trouble. Can't find enough brush strokes. It's kind of funny. The brush I'm using at the moment is a Broken Toad. I've talked about them before, a number of times, but probably for the last 2 years, roughly the last 2 years, Chris hasn't been making the brushes or getting the brushes made. So, but he has just released these. These are the new Mark III series. And so I ordered my favorite size that I always do, which is, where is it, size 2. Because I've used a lot of his size 2s over the years. And ordered 4 of them, and they show up. And I didn't realize, but for the Series 3, he's actually, people wanted sort of larger brushes with larger bellies, hold more paint. So these are more like might have been an old size 3.
Oh no.
But they still come down to a nice fine point. So you can see there. So I can still do a lot with it. But yeah, just getting used to using the kind of the larger body of the brush. It can be a little bit tougher to get it into sort of fine spots on the miniature. But that's the other thing with brushes, because nobody's mentioned brushes just yet, but I'm sure it's coming. A lot of brushes, typically the less expensive brushes, are synthetic, and they can work quite well for a lot of very, I guess, labor-intensive tasks, doing a lot of base coating with synthetic brushes. But they tend not to hold their points for too long.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about finer detail, the natural fiber brushes, like in this case the Kolinsky, are going to give you that finer point, finer edge, and allow you to paint more details in there. It's kind of funny that I'm painting a troll right now.
No.
Because the, I just realized I was like painting his face. He's got the 2 big tusks on each side and the big jaw. And at home I'm painting for the painting commission that had that terrain piece as part of it. Has a lot of trolls.
Ah.
So I'm just getting to the trolls at the moment. I've just finished off 6 yesterday. I've got 6 more to do. I started this morning, but again, lots of big tusks and massive jaws, and that classic troll kind of look. I wonder what color his eyes should be.
Touch up her face.
Okay, now I'm going to squeeze out.
Byron says, are those the same brushes from Peanut Butter Solution? I don't know what that is.
Peanut butter solution?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I know, but peanut butter sounds good.
Peanut butter does sound good.
There we go. So now I'm going to move on to turning a lot of this tinny tin, which I've used as the base color. I try and use that for the base color from a lot of my metals. It works perfect for base color for like a brass kind of finish. But when you use it as a base color for a silver piece, it gives it a real, gives it a bit of a sort of a dirty undertone, a bit of grime that kind of collects in the corners. So I think that'll work well for the sort of the metal around his boots. He's got some really brutal spiked boots here. Let's see if we can see those. And I think the back end of his chain gun will be a little bit grimy, a little bit dirty, but the barrels will be able to do those fairly clean and maybe do a little bit of heat treatment up the front end. So it looks like they've overheated a couple of times. Because I imagine a troll would just go to town with a minigun.
All right. Get a bit of black, paint it on the magic hand, so I can attempt to put these shift paint colors on, and then I don't know what else I want to do with this.
It's the moment we've been waiting for.
The moment we've been waiting for, indeed.
The shift colors.
Vallejo shifters. That should be good.
Yeah, it says paint black first.
Oh, okay. Cool. You get the best results over black.
Yes, because these are the galaxy ones, which I feel like is...
Space.
Yes.
Right.
So hopefully it'll work.
Cool.
And it'll look nice.
I think that'll be fine.
Made all the rest of her clothes colorful.
Okay, we've got that. We've got...
Yeah. Space hand magic.
I wanted to do jazz hands there, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate.
Byron says, it's a movie. Okay.
Oh, what's the movie?
I guess the
Peanut butter
reference to
solution?
peanut butter.
No. I have a feeling it sounds like you're already reading out half the comment.
No, it's a movie, laugh out loud. Are those the same brushes from Peanut Butter Solution? Laugh out loud.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Oh, Walt's on YouTube. Hey, Walt. He says, cool sculpts. Yes, they are indeed cool sculpts. We like the...
Try not to get black on the places I don't want it. This is fine. In between your fingers is fine.
You can do it. You can do it.
Well,
Sometimes you have that.
Hands.
Magic hands, yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna have to touch that up.
I think if a little bit of the paint goes up over those fingers, that's okay. Because one of the things you can do, when, as you said, when you touch it up, is come back and paint the fingers over it.
That is true.
So that might be a little bit easier. Okay, so we've got the basics down for the metal on the chain gun. That would be cool. So, a little bit different there. I think I'm going to get a bright silver for the barrels here, and then put a black wash over the rest of the gun. We'll do that. And I put it somewhere. There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Pull that to the side. Get out my... Pretty strange, eh? Put fresh water on my palette earlier today. But obviously I didn't put enough. And peeling up at the side. So I'll have to fix that.
All right. And
So good.
between these fingers.
Some Nuln oil, GW. A little bit of black mixed in.
All right.
And then
Let that dry a little bit. What's on her?
how's it looking?
Not bad. Do.
I guess that's the other problem with using the holders. When we then want to go and put them on the spinner. It's like, oh.
I like the color scheme I have going on. I like your crazy boots.
Cool.
Not a lot of shading.
That's good.
Because I wanted to make sure I finished her.
Right.
I was getting really interested in painting her tights, and I was like, I'm not gonna. If I
get that
keep
far.
going, I'm not gonna get that finished. But it's okay. So let's see, light violet green or turquoise violet. What says magic to you more?
Oh, let me see.
What are the colors?
Turquoise violet or light violet green. And you can't, so I assume with these that they dry different than they look inside of the container. Because none of the colors match what it says they're going to dry as. And I have faith in Vallejo, so.
Yep. I would say go for the light violet green. Yeah, I think that one will work well. We'll see.
A good magic-y kind of color.
Fingers crossed.
Let's
Fingers crossed it'll be perfect for that.
let that dry, touch more.
I wonder what color. Does anybody know what color a troll's eyes are?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's a color. It's like taupe,
Yes.
biscuit, terracotta.
A wonderful shade of something.
Right. Okay. Wonderful shade of something. You're super helpful.
I know.
Most helpful ever.
Put it in the chat, everyone. What's a troll's eyes?
Yep.
When you look into Troll's eyes, what
do you
color do
see?
you see?
Maybe the cyber eyes? That's what
That
Ross
would be
says.
cool.
What'd you say? Cyber eyes?
Like a really lime green or something, or
Oh, Timothy says dirty yellow.
Dirty yellow? Okay.
Walt says he would paint them red.
Yeah, that's where I was headed. Maybe, I know.
Romance.
Pardon? Romance.
Paint them romance, Dave.
Yes.
I was gonna say blue. Not gonna lie.
Blue?
Blue because of like the computer type thing. Blue
Right.
because then it would match his hair.
I don't know if I want to do the hair
someone
and the
on
eyes matching.
Facebook said yellow.
Okay.
Are you gonna listen to our advice?
Sure. It might not look like I am right now, but
Okay,
it's coming.
I'm excited.
What I'm doing first up is putting down some red in there. And around the eyes, there's these sculpts have very fine, eyelids. So I'm just thinning down this deep red as well to run around the edges of those eyelids. Give it a little bit of a like distressed look. Not to say that he's been crying, but he might be reacting to all of the
romance.
The gases.
all of the romance. He might be reacting to all of the romance and beauty that people are finding in his eyes. Thanks for that, guys. You had to start singing just as I applied it, right?
I have
Byron,
to
who
start
are,
singing. Yes.
who are all getting Valentine's cards?
From the
Him.
troll?
The troll, obviously.
The troll's definitely getting it, but now I actually need to move to a finer brush. I'm going to find my finest brush. Where is my finest brush? Where are you, fine brush?
Now,
There we
is
go.
it your finest brush or your finest brush?
Finest.
Finest or your finest?
Fine.
Like, is it fine or is it thin fine?
It's thin.
Okay.
My thinnest. My tiniest. Just so I can dab these eyeballs in the middle of the red with some of the desert yellow. There we go. I think that'll work. Maybe mix a little bit of ivory in there. Oh, that might have spoiled it. Oh well. We'll see when it's on the spinner.
Oh yeah, her face from afar looks okay. Her face from close up,
It's not romance.
it's not a romance.
Not a
it's
romance.
it's
Oh.
not it's not quite, but that's okay. She's living her truth. I actually kind of like the oil slick kind of vibe from.
From the shifters?
Well, yeah, because it's I feel like in the punk future, cyberpunk. That's the word.
Yeah.
The cyberpunk future, like,
That everything's going to be oil slicked.
yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, you can see it on camera.
Can you?
Yeah, a bit.
Yeah.
Kind of see how it works.
There we go. No, this way.
Well, and I like the idea that her magic is like dark. That's kind
Yeah, it's what's left of nature, or it's corrupted nature.
Or
of cool.
it's,
I like this.
it's dead dinosaurs.
Or it's just dead dinosaurs. It's just.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not.
No.
And we appreciate you still. It's fine.
Okay.
All right, folks. 10 minutes.
10 minutes? 10
Well,
minutes to go.
Really more like 5,
Okay, 5 minutes.
because we want some time to see them on the spinner.
We will get these done. I think it's been a lot of fun painting on this guy.
So if anyone has any last minute questions for
Yep.
Dave and Gretchen, put them
ooh.
in the chat.
What- One thing I'll just mention in there, Walt Bledsoe said, did see that Hero Forge is working on 3D printable mini in colors. I did see that. They've got a Kickstarter running at the moment. It seems like a very interesting idea. I know that they've got some photos up there of what it should look like. I don't know if it is going to look like that or how they go about that particular aspect of it. I think one of the coolest things that'll come out of it is definitely the sort of the color picker that they have. So you can go and test out your color schemes, your paint schemes before you actually go and stick them on your models. So I think that's pretty cool. But I got to admit, I'm a big fan of the hobby part of this, which is the painting. No real surprise there, but I think if somebody was to send me pre-painted models, that I'd probably end up priming over them and painting them myself. But maybe that's just me.
Fair. I actually found, someone had mentioned before, why don't I paint over like a Jurassic Park dinosaur?
All right, yep.
And I was like, oh, I like the paint jobs on most of them. I found one that I would paint over.
All right.
a one of the ones that you get from like one of the little cheapo candy
Okay.
things, and it could use
Could use some TLC.
some TLC.
Right.
The Jurassic Park didn't show those as nearly as much love.
No. Oh well. There we go. I think.
Well, I feel like the colored plastic is great if you kind of want a starting point,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then you like add to it, because I can't imagine you getting any sort of depth. But I didn't see it
Oh, for on like a 3D printed.
on the 3D
Color
printed.
printed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a lot of flat base colors for sure. It's gonna be interesting to see what the final products are like. I know that a lot of people are stepping in and supporting them, so that's good to see. But yeah, I think you're right. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for that technology to become really solid. But it's fun to see that people are trying it, getting out there with it. But yeah. Sorry, just super focused on this guy. Realize he has a bit of a calcium deposit on his jaw.
No.
Same.
Did you just say same?
Yep.
Okay. I think it's the same as this one, but not quite the same. So there we go. Okay, what do we got? Oh, we have plenty of time. Should I paint the base? I don't know if I'm going to get it done in time.
Yes.
Leona's making the decision for
Making
you.
a decision. Okay.
Gotta do the victory lap. Victory lap.
Victory lap. That's true.
Or a victory wrap, you know?
Victory wrap.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. The tough part here, trying to get this done in time, then is going to be painting the base gray, and then all of the shell casings on the base, because obviously this minigun spits out a lot of them.
David says, very cool Dave does the victory wrap. And I agree with that.
Okay. Oh, yes. That's why Cool Dave will never show up.
Man, Cool Dave's the best.
He is. He's super exciting. He's a much better co-host.
Aww.
Regular Dave kind of sucks.
No,
That's what you're
also
saying.
not true.
You're all saying you want to see Cool Dave. We've had enough of that regular Dave. Get his ass out of here. Okay. I'm going to take him off the holder. I will paint the edge. I might not get the chance to paint all of the shells just yet. On his base, where's that? There it is. And
Walt has a good point.
Is that picking up on the microphone?
It is, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
He
Means
said
I'm
3D
almost out of
printing-
black paint.
Walt says 3D printing is very challenging, but very rewarding.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have a 3D printer, Dave?
I do not have a 3D printer because I have enough hobbies.
Fair.
And by enough hobbies, I mean one, which is miniature painting. But yeah, I think
It's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle.
it's a lifestyle. Oh, miniature painting
Yep,
or 3D printing.
miniature painting.
A little bit of both. Yeah. Yeah, I think from everything I've seen, I've got quite a few friends who've got 3D printers. But yeah, from everything I've seen, there's a whole slew of other stuff to learn. Very definitely over the last couple of years, it's been getting easier for people to do, but you still need to learn a lot of stuff, and therefore it kind of becomes a hobby in its own right. And definitely to get the best results for minis or for terrain, you've got to be taking your time and working on it. So yeah, my hat's off to all of you folks who are doing that, who are taking the time. I just know that I've... Oh, are we ready?
Oh, is it the time?
No, it's
Oh, man.
almost time.
Almost time?
How those... Oh, wow. Those shifters have dried.
Yeah.
Pretty...
They
lot
look
lighter
very
than-
much
Come on,
like an
Dave.
oil
It's an
slick.
empty
They
spinner.
do, yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Slick.
They look good.
Magic. Magic hands.
Yep. They were a lot of fun to paint. I think these, as we said, the sculpts have got a lot of detail. There's a lot of different things you can put in
I
there.
definitely kept noticing different details as I kept going.
Right.
Honestly, she looks better up there than she does in real life.
I love the your eyeshadow.
Her screaming face was so difficult because
Right.
every time I tried to dab something, it would just go.
Right. Just run.
It would, because I'd be like, oh, the paint's too thick, because then it would blob, so I'd thin it out, and then it would just fill.
Right, okay.
I can't win.
No.
I can't. But I enjoy her pastel cowboy festival color
Yeah.
scheme.
Yep.
I do. I
I'm
like
about
it.
that. I'm
I
about
think it
that.
works.
Cool.
Also, Walt asks, what's the troll's name?
This one, well, the one straight from the box is Blanco, but this guy might be called something different. I'm open to names, and I suspect I might be sending this one to my buddy Brian.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah.
So
Because,
you painted the troll Blanco, the troll rigger,
Yep. Oh, the troll weapon specialist.
weapons specialist.
Yep.
And then Gretchen.
I painted the
Koi dog.
koi dog, the elf shaman.
And that's koi spelled C-O-Y.
Yes.
Unfortunately not spelled K-O-I. Can you imagine a koi dog?
Be good.
Sweet.
Kind of cute.
Totally sweet.
Like a mermaid
definitely
dog. I like that idea. But yeah, I
yeah.
like how she turned out up there. She looks nice up there. We'll leave her up there forever. It's good.
Yep.
I like how
Cool.
her colors came out. I like that oil slick idea for magic.
For the shifters, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think it's yeah, definitely good. Well, you'll probably experiment with them a
I
little bit more
will.
during the.
That's cool.
Future shows.
These are the space themed ones.
Okay.
So I think that's why it wants the black base. 'cause
Right,
It
yep.
looks much more galactic.
Cool. I think it'd be interesting to get that to go for something which is more of a over a white base or a pearl to get a pearl kind of finish.
Well, we do have a different
Oh, my goodness.
magic dust.
Magic dust.
We have magic dust back there, guys. You can't really see, but
They can see it. They can see it. Real good.
but we have
We'll try that in a future show.
yes
On something something different, something future.
something future.
Yep.
I like that. Something magical.
Something magical.
Ooh.
Maybe something bug related. I don't know.
We'll find something properly not whimsical enough for you to.
So they can be serious about it.
Yes.
Cool. Okay,
So you can
let's
be
do
like,
that.
yes, serious business painting.
Yep. Nice.
Get some
Excellent.
bugs.
Well, so I think we should say thank you to Catalyst Game
Yep.
Labs for the Shadowrun miniatures, Shadowrun Sixth World. Check it out, available now, and just looking really cool. Also, if you head to, I can't remember the website, but if you head to Catalyst Games website, you'll be able to get through to the Shadowrun website and read all about it.
CatalystGameLabs.com.
Or shadowruntabletop.com. Check that out.
Yeah. Turns out we have a cheat sheet
We do.
right here.
Good work.
Next week, we are going to be painting Fallout Wasteland Warfare.
Awesome. We probably should get Brian back for that as well.
So,
Actually, I think what we might do, so next week, maybe if we could do a little feature of some of the work that Robert Sakaluk has been doing
Oh yeah.
over the last year or
Of
so.
course.
yeah.
As one of our community members who's
Definitely.
been doing loads of fantastic Fallout work. And I might try to see if we can get my buddy Joey, who is a huge like post-apocalyptic fan, to
All right.
come on. He's a massive fan of Fallout. So get him to jump in the
Sounds
chat
fun.
and talk about it there.
Oh, that would be cool.
So yeah, and as David said, yes, Robert is a machine. Robert paints so much stuff. He's also a 3D printing machine.
Oh,
So no doubt Walt has seen some of his work in there.
literally and figuratively.
Pretty much, yep.
All right. Well, we have painted the minis. We have not looked at other painted minis, but we will look at extra next time to
extra
make
next
up
week.
for that. So make sure that you are part of our Facebook group, and if not, you join right now.
Right now.
Yeah, exactly. At this moment in time, so that we could look at your minis.
I'll be looking at my phone, waiting for you. I'll be sitting there waiting.
Baited back.
Approve.
Yeah. Just
Approve.
Ding, ding. That's
Yep.
what he goes home to do.
It's true.
Actually, he just waits for everyone.
The rest of my week is just approving people for the Facebook group. Sometimes it's lonely. Sometimes it's not.
You should use them to make more friends.
It's true. These are my friends. I made them. It's one of my favorite lines from Blade Runner. So glad we could
Yep.
work that in. Excellent.
All
okay.
for you.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm Gretchen,
I'm Dave.
and we'll see you at your friendly local game store.
Thanks for watching Painting Happy Little Minis. If you liked it, leave a like and a comment below, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new content.